Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the In Our Tribe podcast. This is Adrian Ruiz, and I've been your host on this lovely journey. We're in season 9 right now of the In Our Tribe podcast, and today I am honored, I am privileged, I am blessed to introduce to you Miss Lydia Ramirez. Lydia Ramirez is the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Five Star Bank, and I am fortunate enough to call her friend. Lydia, welcome to In Our Tribe.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Right on, right on. I was like, she's going to say no, but I'm going to ask anyways. And right away, you're like, let's do this.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's totally down.
I have so many questions, and I also want to just recognize that you are incredibly busy and you are like everywhere. And I want to dive into that because I actually think there's some leadership lessons for everyone on how you handle your life, because I've been watching. Before we get started, what are you listening to these days? What are you jamming out to?
So my happy place is the gym. So, I put in the music, but right now it's my Latino beats, right? Bad Bunny, Karol G. That's what's in my head right now. And I'm jamming out and rocking through it and enjoying the treadmill. And people are like, what is she listening to? And I'm like, I wish I could tell you. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy my treadmill workout right now.
Oh my gosh. It is like, to me, Latino music's taking over the world right now.
100%. I mean, it's like, it's funny because my kids love it. I love it. Like everyone around me is just jamming out, right? Like it's just something that it makes you happy. As soon as you like listen to it, you're moving. I don't know how you don't move, but
it's so true. It's so true. And it doesn't even matter what genre, because like earlier before we started, we were listening to a band called the French Police. They're a Mexican American band out of Chicago, and they are totally taking over the post goth genre, right? It's just really neat to see that happening. I think it's cool. I think it's amazing.
I love it.
But anyways, this is not about music. This is about Lydia. So let's get this thing going here. I want to start off with a very interesting question. We're just going to build from there.
All right. Sounds good.
Pretend that you were able to go back in time and talk to 12-year-old Lydia.
Okay.
Right? And you're just hanging out with her, right? And she asked you a question that's kind of unexpected, but you want to answer. I'm going to make sure I get this right. What do you want to be when you grow up?
That was an easy one. When I was 12 years old, I wanted to be a doctor. It was through and through. It was what I wanted to do, help people. It's kind of like that Mexican family. There's a couple of really strong, like, professions that your parents tend to want you to be so that you can be successful in life, right? And it's like a lawyer or a doctor or any one of those two, right? And that's usually what they see as being very respectful in the community and, helpful, right? And so definitely gravitated towards the science. I've always been a super nerd. And so that absolutely fit my alley when I was 12 and actually tried to fulfill that dream. It just didn't actually come to fruition.
Was it the blood? Was it the paperwork? What was it?
It was, no joke. I went to UC Davis with the intention of being a doctor. My major was neurobiology, physiology, behavior, NPB for short, right? Wow. So it was very much medical school driven. I loved science. I can do science. I can rock science all day long.
Wow.
I was 100% one of those STEM kids. Loved math, all of it. And so probably about my junior year in and went and tried to do this whole, let's see what a doctor really tries to do and be with patients. And I just kept fainting when I saw blood. And I could, as a mother now, I can deal with my own children. But when I'm around other people, I kind of get queasy and I'm like, yeah, that's just not going to work.
Nope.
And so I remember telling my mom and my dad at the time that I was like, I can't do this. I got to do something different. And my dad totally understood. My mom was devastated. And I ended up switching to psychology and Spanish major. So I go from super tough major to tough in its own right. But it was definitely different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Life's a trip, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a doctor. But you fast forward, and 12-year-old Lydia doesn't become a doctor, but she is in the C-suite of the banking industry here in the Sacramento region, in California. Tell us about your journey to the C-suite. Like, how did this thing happen?
You know, so kind of going back to the previous question, right? So I had to pivot. I had to think about, like, what was I going to do? I'm here graduating. I was a super senior, so I did 5 years at Davis because I switched my major basically halfway through my junior year. I had plenty to graduate in psychology, but I'm not a simpleton, do a one and done. I've always been an overachiever. So I'm like, you know what, let's go for the double major, even though I had to go a whole nother year to finish it.
Wow.
So I ended up getting a BS in psychology and a BA in Spanish. And so, come from blue collar family. And so working throughout my entire time while I was at UC Davis was, necessary. And ended up being what we called a peak time teller. So basically part-time teller.
Yeah.
Basically walked into a bank and was like, you guys look like you need some help. And they hired me the next day. And that was the end of the beginning, right? So it was just kind of, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did see some of my roommates. And my roommates and I at Davis, like, basically stayed together the entire time. From the moment we were freshmen all the way through our super senior year, we all stayed together.
How cool is that?
And it was great. We have great relationships. Yeah. And basically, I saw a couple of them start to graduate and kind of go like, well, you know, what comes next? And my roommates were very driven, just like I am. So they all had like post-grad plans. Like, they knew that they were going to do something right into like their next profession. Like, one of them became a lawyer, one of them became a veterinarian. One's in education. And so I was like, okay, I had a plan, but now I don't know what my plan is. And so I had a fantastic mentor who was like, well, there's this crazy training program that they accept like 6 statewide, and 2 in Southern California, 2 in Central, and 2 in Northern California. So you can apply for it. You have to have your 4-year degree. And then if you get it, it basically takes you from like part-time teller to frontline management, right? So it basically like catapults your career by a good 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, well, I mean, I got nothing to lose other than to try.
Yeah.
And
here's where that overachiever kicks in right here.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, so I interviewed for it and I got one of the 2 spots in Northern California. Wow. And so that was with Union Bank. And so I ended up staying at Union Bank for 17 years. And so had some fantastic mentors along the way, went through all of their leadership version of trainings and classes, and became part of their kind of front line, trying to figure out how do we listen to what's going on in the front line by giving our executive leadership an idea of some ideas, what's been working, what's not working, trying out different training programs, went to New York for some couple training programs. Towards the end, they ended up paying for me to go to executive banking school, which is like getting my master's in banking.
Okay.
And that was towards the end of my career with them, and knew that when I came back, I wasn't wanting to do the very same job I'd been doing for such a long time. But in that moment when I was going through executive banking school, sometimes it takes somebody else to look at your life and tell you when things could be better, and you're just kind of in this like cloud of, no, it's okay. They always have my best interest at heart.
Right.
And I won't say that they didn't have my best interest at heart, because I absolutely enjoyed my career at Union Bank for 17 years. But there's always a couple of players that try to take advantage. And I think I was, I am a very loyal individual. And once I trust hard. And that comes with loyalty. Yeah. And so for me to unwind and start to critically think about what was actually happening, was not really in the DNA. I just assumed that they would always take care of me. But I was doing a lot of the work of some of my then supervisors, but I wasn't getting the titles or the accolades and all that stuff. And so basically somebody was like, yeah, you got to do something different. And so I ended up moving into 5-Star Bank, and they created a position for me. It didn't even exist. And so I went from a super regional bank that had about 115 billion total assets to a bank that was underneath a 1 billion in total assets. So start change, right? So super regional bank to a commercial community bank. And what we've been able to achieve at Five Star Bank in the last 8 years has been incredible in terms of the amount of growth and trajectory and what we do for the community. And so I think one of the things that I've always, I didn't know what I wanted until I stepped into it was, I didn't realize that for me, being innovative and creative is probably the biggest key to me being happy in my career, and not being able to be defined by a square box and allow me to just be and do. I really flourish in that environment.
Yeah.
And so I had some fantastic supervisors along the way at Five Star, particularly two individuals that really helped to bring me into the company and grow me. And so I came underneath a very strong female who was our CFO, COO at the time, and was a director of branch administration, basically rewrote everything from the client experience perspective, how operations was driven.
Wow.
Threw it all out, rewrote it, knew this was a commercial bank and understood what I understood from commercial when I worked at Union Bank for the last 17 years, and was like, well, if I'm a commercial business owner, I'm not going to stop my day to, go do all of this banking stuff. I need it to just work with my flow of what my natural day is, right? Yeah. So I always think about it from that mindset. And so basically rewrote what we do and how we achieve that client experience. A lot of that came with modernizing a lot of the process work streams, the technologies. In fact, we had just gone completely digital probably a month before COVID hit. And so our ability to be able to be super flexible during those COVID times where basically the world shut down, the only thing you could do was amazing. It basically revolutionized and changed how we did banking and how we reached our customers, and the ability to reach our customers across the United States without ever having to be right in front of them, but still having the technology to still identify and feel comfortable with the people you're doing business with, right? So we changed all of it, and so it really catapulted our growth. And so really in this last 8 years, we went from under $1 billion to just under $5 billion. So
wow,
so very, very strong growth for a community bank. We
was it
to Bay
Sacramento based, or is it like Northern California? Like you all are like in the Bay Area now. You're everywhere now.
Yeah. So 2023 happened where the world was shook a little bit in terms of you saw some very strong banks kind of unfortunately collapse in March of 2023, and that really changed banking. The most recent change, at least for banking, it gave people an idea that, they weren't too sure about how strong the banking system was, to watch some of these larger institutions just kind of unfortunately crumble within days, right? But that's the power of social media too. It's a little crazy in terms of how people are reactionary and don't really kind of stop to think and figure out if this is really true or happening, right? We are reactionary first before thinking through logically, and that was kind of a little bit. But I mean, there were some opportunities in the banks that unfortunately did not survive. But in all of that, we became opportunistic and moved to the Bay, and it's been super fruitful for us.
Can we hang out there for a little bit?
Yeah,
because I want to know about, like, someone told me once when I was young, and it just stayed with me forever. Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Absolutely.
In other words, there's opportunity in this, right? In your role as a leader within Five Star, how did you see the opportunity and take the risk?
Right.
Because that's ultimately,
yes,
that moment of risk.
Right.
It's either going to have a huge payoff or something else. How'd you navigate that?
Okay, so basically, banking, like any other industry, is about driving relationships, building relationships, having a network of, right? Like, and that's not built like in one day. It's built over time. So I work for a CEO who has been the CEO of our bank for 23 years.
Oh, wow.
So his network of bankers, of community leaders, of business leaders is huge. But so is mine. I've been in this space since 2021. I've been a banker, right? So building my own network in spaces. Some of our board of directors have been previous bankers and business owners. So through connectivity, we were able to establish some relationships before all of this went down, right? Like way before. And so when things like this happen, it's one phone call away and the world changes, right? With one phone call. And so that's where I would say, I've been able to really learn under a leader who is that thoughtful about taking advantage of opportunity when there is a crisis, because there is absolutely an opportunity to take advantage of crisis, right? And so, and we have flourished ever since. For the last 2.5 years, we have moved into the Bay. We've got a fantastic Bay Area president who's doing wonderful things and growing our space. We opened San Francisco office last year. I'm opening Walnut Creek in 2 weeks.
Nice.
And we continue to flourish and do amazing things. We've got fantastic customers that are continuing to lead our charge, talk about our brand, and really help to drive the overall 5-Star Bank feel. So not only do we maintain a very strong presence in the capital region and beyond, in the North State too, up in Raleigh and Chico, got great following up there. But now we're building it out in the Bay as well. So it's been amazing to watch. And like I said, I don't know that I could have dreamt this career ever. In fact, somebody was texting me today from my old life and was just literally texted me and was like, she's like, I just needed to reach out to you. And this is somebody I hadn't talked to in 10 years at least.
Wow.
I just needed to reach out to you and let you know that we're watching and we're so incredibly proud.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like it's pretty cool. It's like, okay, so like you just don't know who's watching. You just don't know. And I'm never doing it for the camera, right? I'm never doing it for anybody else other than to watch what we're capable of doing together. And so
good.
It's not me doing it by myself for sure, right? I'm definitely leading the charge. I'm in charge of the client experience. I'm driving that client experience, whether it's people, process, technology, products, that's me. Facilities, that's me. But it still takes a village behind me that, all the sales individuals, all the lending individuals, all of the marketing individuals, our compliance, our CEO, our finance team driving and driving the business. So it takes a village, but it's pretty fun to watch and be a part of.
It is. It's funny because every time I pass by and I see 5, I'm like, I know it. It is true. And if you're listening, watching, there's some gems being dropped right now, and I think it's really important that you take some notes. One, the power of relationships and leadership really matters, right? 2, your brand and the ability to take risks because you have a solid brand matters. And there's no one that can do this work by themselves. You need a village, you need a team, you need a squad. And you see what it's done for Lydia. Lydia, this is the part where it might get a little turbulent on the ride. but I just want to have some real talk with you. Not that we haven't yet. I'm going to say 3 letters, and you tell me what that means to you right now in the world of banking. You ready?
Ray.
DEI.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yes, it is.
Well, so I've had a couple of titles along the way to this last one, and one of them was Chief Operations Officer and Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer. And in my recent promotion, it just means I have a bigger concentration across the entire bank, right? Which includes the part of driving community and inclusion.
Yeah.
And for us at 5-Star, we haven't stopped. That doesn't stop. Having perspective, having voices, having the presence of mind to understand that green is one color that everybody knows.
That's right.
It doesn't matter what color is on your skin. We all spend that same version of green, right? Yeah. Whether it's plastic, actual cash, or in coin, you still spend it.
Yep.
You still need it. Credit is still critically important. And so, and again, it goes across all barriers, all versions of barriers, all versions of generations, all versions of anything you could possibly think of, right?
Yeah.
And I think what I can say proudly about 5-Star Bank is since its inception and through today, we talk through the stories of our customers. And when we understand that there is a need, there's a resource gap or an opportunity to help a specific group or a specific targeted market, we're going to dive in because if not everyone is thriving at the same pace, you're never going to have an economic environment that is at its peak, that is driving at its next level, right? So if there's one group, if there's one market, if there's one space that needs attention, then let's drive that attention. Let's give the resources needed, whether it's homelessness, whether it's internet use, whether it's technology use, whether it's capital to be able to grow business. Let's drive that together. And again, all of these needs are not dependent on the color of our skin or the gender that we are or the age that we are, and none of it, right? Our physical ability, none of it is dependent on that. And so when we come together in unity to drive and fill out and how do we fill those gaps, the stronger we become as a region and beyond, right? So I'm very proud of, we mirror the communities in which we serve. So we look like the communities in which we serve. We strive to make sure that not only are we a bank in the community, but we're an economic engine and a driver for our community. And that means we are driving all those resources, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we're proud sponsors. We serve on boards. We give our time. And we're not just a community bank. We're the community bank. We're the community bank in the Sacramento region, right? We are,
So good.
we are here to break bread with you. I'm here to watch your business grow and help you along the way, right? Whether it's your nonprofit or your specific business, or you personally, right? Or your group that you're leading, where you have all these young, impressionable Latinos and Latinas that want to get to those next stages. I was just in their shoes 10, 15 years ago, right? And, I didn't get here by myself. It takes a village. It takes mentorship. It takes opportunity. It takes access. And I was given access and opportunity, not because I was just given it, because I earned it. So that's the odd thing. That's the one thing that I think when you think about D&I, people feel like it's a free access card. No, it's about giving opportunity to all those that have earned it and have a stake at the table, right?
And are good at what they do.
Right. And I think just opening up the doors to figure out who else is good at that, right? Who are we unintentionally excluding, and who are we missing, and who could really add value to the company, right? So some of the things that we've been able to do is we have things called cultural banking, where we understand that banking and money, specifically money, it is very emotional and personal. And so
Totally that.
When you think about that, if I understand your culture or how you and a specific group naturally tends to think about money, credit, how family views these different things, I can more easily relate to you and understand how to help grow your personal brand business, or your community as a whole, right?
Yeah.
So, we've got some really great examples of that in the bank. I'm one, Nikki Kaur, who does amazing work in Yuba City and beyond in everything she does with her groups. But it's been very instrumental. Women in banking, we're big proponents of women in entrepreneurship, having those voices being heard at the table. I sit on a lot of boards where it's, I'm a little bit different than the rest of the room, and I'm okay with being that person. But
can we hang out there for a little?
Yeah, let's do that.
So you are such a mentor. You're the type of mentor that I don't think you even know how many people look up to you and watch what you do. And I'm specifically thinking about the amazing women inside of Creciente right now. And I think they're trying to figure out this riddle that you're navigating right now. And the riddle / question I have for you is, how do you navigate being a Latina woman leader? And I'm just going to say it, in a predominantly white guy world.
Right.
Known as banking.
Right. It's very conservative, my industry, right? And I think the end of the day is you need to show up as your authentic self. You need to not be afraid to take risks. Everybody is there to build relationships. And again, money is green, has no preference. So at the end of the day, if you know what you're doing and you're confident it is about what you're doing, the room opens up.
Straight up.
You got to walk into it. And you can't be timid about it. You can't be shy about it. You can't hide in the corner about it. If you're going to be in that room, then be in it. Walk through that door. And it doesn't have to be obnoxiously loud, but you need to walk through that door with conviction. That's basically what it is.
How do you walk through those hallways and doors with power and conviction? What's your style in that?
Well, and I will say I don't carry a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about doing that. It's really about understanding, like, how do you do your business? I really want to understand it, because if I can understand how you do business, I can maybe help you. And if I can't help you today, maybe I can help you tomorrow. Right? And if you know a little bit more about me today, then I might know a little bit more about you today. And tomorrow we can become partners, or even today. Right? So, closed mouths don't get fed.
Right.
Big thing.
Woo. Hello. You know what? She's like laser beaming me in the eyeball right now when she said that. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
So let me talk about this whole mentorship thing. Like,
yeah.
you're basically, you are that to so many of us in this community. Why is it so important to you for you to take that on? It almost feels like this is a job you don't get paid to do. Like, this is just who you are. Why is mentorship so important to you in our community?
Because there's not enough of me in the community. Like,
you're a unicorn.
And no joke, Adrian, as much as like people would be like, oh, I'm so proud to say I'm the highest ranking Latina in practically all of Northern California in banking, right?
Yeah.
And while, you know, I'll wear that sash, it's not a sash that I want to wear. We're 2025.
Hello.
When 25 to 27% of the population is Latino. Yes. I cannot be the only one that is working in the C-suite of a publicly traded bank.
Yep.
And it doesn't even have to be a female. I'm looking for my Latino partners. Like, I'm just looking for people of color at this point, right? And so for me, it's not just about growing our Latino voice. I'm growing our people of color voice. I'm growing our female voice.
Yeah.
Because it's just not even there. And so I think the representation matters. And when you see somebody that looks like you in these spaces, you think it is now possible. And when you don't see it not being possible, it becomes an impossible dream. And that was what it was for me. It was not an impossible dream, but more so a dream that I didn't think about dreaming. I will tell you to this day, and I don't know where I got this from, but in my head, I was like, oh, I'll eventually be in the C-suite, but maybe when I'm like 45, you know, like it was some random number, right?
You just made that number up?
Yeah. Because like, you know, because maybe at that time, some wisdom will just turn on in my head and I'll be taken seriously in this space, right?
Right.
Well, I actually got put into that space when I was 40. So I was like, well, who's going to take a 40-year-old seriously, right? Like, and it was more about believing in myself. So not so much an imposter syndrome, because I knew what I could do, but it was more about like, how do I resonate with my peers? How do I resonate in the community? And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said, I didn't know, and probably to this day, still don't know how much impact I potentially drive.
Yeah.
And I think once I understood that and owned it, I have really just kind of come into my own. And I think what people need to understand is we all have our own version of power to give, and it grows with each opportunity, right? And so again, when I was told that I was going to be moving into the C-suite, it was like a little bit of a what? Because I felt like I wasn't like ready for my mentor to lead me at that time. I was like, I don't know what you're thinking. I'm not 100% ready. And she's just like, you've been ready. And I was like, okay, maybe, yeah, sure. I had worked with her. I hadn't worked with my CEO yet. And I mean, I did, but I more had his trust and his confidence to know that I'm going to do the right things, but to work for him directly, very different.
Right.
And you talk about two very different leaders, right? Like, you know, you got to learn different styles. And, you know, she was an amazing white female. He's a fantastic white male. But at the end of the day, both of them only see in how do we drive the ROI for the bank, right? And so working for leaders that see in that capacity and understand perspective brings ROI is the best place I could possibly be. And it allows me the opportunity to go in and do mentorship. And I mean, that's probably 40% of what I do every single week is just driving mentorship and meeting with people and having coffee with people and them telling you their business plan. And I'm like, let's try this. Or, you know, or I'll be like, that's fantastic. And I'm going to hold you to it. Because in 3 weeks, I'm going to text you and I'll be like, okay, this is what we said. Did you do it? And they're like, oh. I'm like, oh, no. You took an hour of my time. I'm going to make sure that you are where you need to be, right?
That's real mentorship right there.
And so, because at the end of the day, like I said, I am very passionate about making sure that there is people that look like you and I at the table having a voice. And it starts with your own household. Do you have a voice in your own household? Yeah. Right? Like, do you have a level where you're like, you're promoting what's great for your family, whether it's your brothers, your sisters, or your children, or your partner? Like, are you each other's biggest supporters and fans? And once you have that nucleus, it grows from there. And if I didn't have the nucleus that I have, I wouldn't be able to do the 100 things that people see me do all over the place, because I do have an incredibly strong nucleus.
There it goes. Like, we need a village. We need a team, a squad, right? My God, you're everywhere. I mean, seriously, like, you are everywhere. And I mean that as a compliment. But I'm curious about this, because I think there's another leadership lesson in here, is how do you take care of yourself to be fully present and fully full of energy, if that's such a thing, and people talk about work-life balance and this, that, and those, but I don't know what that is. But I want to hear from you. Like, how do you balance your life? I don't even know if that's the word, but how do you do your life in such a way where you can be fully present in so many different places? That's what I wanted to say, y'all.
Yeah. Well, I don't believe in work-life balance. Doesn't. And when you think about it, a balanced scale, that means that somebody's in the middle. And if you're in the middle, are you actually achieving success?
Nope.
No. You're not terrible enough to fail, and you're not great enough to succeed. So when you think about a balanced scale, that's not really what we want to achieve.
Nice.
Ever. Right? So I don't believe in work-life balance. I do believe in work-life integration. So I will unapologetically work on a Sunday morning from 10 to 2, because I know I'm going to knock some stuff out. But I know that I'm going to go watch a baseball game that my son's playing in. I'm going to go spend some time and watch a movie on a Tuesday. I'm going to take my kid out, and we're going to go spend some time, and it's going to be 1:00, and I'm not going to be done until it's 5:00. I will unapologetically take that time on Sunday to take that time on Tuesday.
I love that.
And so for me, it's about integrating. And I'm always working. I'm always a mom. I'm always Lydia. I'm never not one of those hats. I don't ever take one hat to put one on. I wear all the hats all the time. So when I'm out in the community, I'm always a mom. When I'm out in the community, I'm always the COO of 5 Star Bank. When I'm out in the community, I'm always Lydia, the community leader.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter in which circle I'm in. I'm always integrating every single one of them. And so when I hear things, I'm like, oh, Adrian, you need to talk to Adrian, or, oh, you need to go talk to Dr. Lisa Cardoza, or, oh, man, that sounds fantastic. I know 2 other people that are in this food ag thing that you're trying to build. Let me connect you, because this is going to be amazing, right? So for me, it's not about driving my own circle. It's about driving my community, because when we all are winning together, we're all winning together.
Hello. Another gem, y'all. Like, we have to be together to make this thing happen, right?
Yeah.
Community. Oh, I'm going to stick with the whole, Lydia going down memory lane here and thinking about her life and what got her to this place. What is the greatest, most wonderful mistake you've ever made?
Oof, that's a good one. I think my greatest, most wonderful mistake that I ever made. There's one. I got one personally, and I got one professionally. Personally, I got married super young. And it was more about me being terca. I was so stubborn, and I was right. And I got married to my first husband, and I absolutely loved him, but I should have listened to my parents and basically built that relationship with a little bit more time, and probably would not have gotten married because we grew apart. What I wanted was very aspirational, and he was totally okay being status quo. But the mistake that I love is my 2 beautiful boys, right? Like, I would not have been a mom. I would not have a 19-year-old in college right now. I wouldn't have a 17-year-old that's a junior right now, about to live my best free life, almost an empty nester. but I wouldn't have had them. And so for that, it was my wonderful personal mistake.
I get it.
My professional one was moving on from Union Bank and having enough inside me to walk away from what I called a 17-year relationship, right? And moving into this completely brand new space where I knew nothing, I knew no one, where I was the subject matter expert, I knew everything, I knew where it all was, I could tell you exactly, and then and here I'm like, I don't know what the systems look like, I don't know who we are, I don't know why we do. I knew enough that I liked the culture and I just dove in. But the last 8 years have been a crazy catapult of success. And I don't know that I could have dreamed this in 100 years.
Yeah.
But
you just said that whole making mistakes forward.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah. And it was like, and could people call moving banks a mistake going forward? Potentially. But this is where I say, you can't be afraid to take risks.
That's right.
Especially when you know it's the right thing to do. And you need to hold yourself in value. You need to understand your worth. You need to understand what you bring to the table.
Your strengths, right?
And not be afraid to walk away when it's just not the right thing to do. It might be it was the hardest thing for me. But 8 years later, looking back, best thing I ever did.
Let's go back to that 12-year-old Lydia, and you get a chance to hang out with her. And she asks you, how's it going? And are we going to be okay?
That's a great question. How's it going? It's going great. I can't imagine a better life. Are we going to be okay? 100%. 100%. Could we be better in 100 different ways? Of course. But I'm alive. I'm healthy. I've got 2 amazing boys. I've got a great career. I've got a great village and a great family.
Yes.
So I really can't ask for a lot more.
Hello. So you didn't become a doctor. You became something pretty amazing, though.
Correct.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool to see. When you think about your life and where it's at right now, I know you mentioned community, and I know that you mentioned a village and all these great things that you've accomplished. But when you think about your life right now in present day, what 2 or 3 things are you just filled with so much gratitude for?
I think I'm filled with so much gratitude with the people I surround myself with, right? Like having the right board of directors around you, that group that will check you, but at the same time love you, is critically important. If there's anything you walk away from this whole thing, that is so important. And they cannot be all yes or no men or women or whoever is in that space. I'm so incredibly thankful for that group of people that I can just text on in any moment at any given time. People that will stop, fly, and need me to go do all these things, right? And I do the same thing for anybody that I sit on their board of directors for, right? So that's one. I think the other thing that I'm internally grateful for is working for a company that allows me to be me holistically and in all the ways, right? So I show up in all of my colors, right? I represent my culture. I'm not a black and navy suit wearing banker. I love color.
Yeah.
It's how I represent me. It's who I am.
I love that.
And I think the biggest thing that I can say is I work for a company that allows me to be me, that allows my passions that I have in the community to really flourish.
Yeah.
And in turn, it brings back business to the company tenfold.
Absolutely.
And it's not that I'm knocking down the doors, asking for it. It's I'm giving my time, my love, my energy, and that energy is being bounced back in that same way, right?
Right.
So, of course, I want all the business in the world. I want my business to succeed, but at the same time, I lead with love and empathy first. And so being able to do that for whether it's my community, my family, or my village, I think that's what I get back in return.
Absolutely.
And I think the last thing I'm probably the most grateful for is the opportunity to be a mom. greatest joys in the world, right? I've been a single mom for a really long time, and I'm not sad about it. You know, I've enjoyed amazing ups and downs along the way. They've taught me so many things. Your children are the most gifted individuals that will either humble you, teach you things, give you the biggest pride and joy, or the biggest headaches. Yeah. But you learn so much through those little people. And so I think that's kind of, those are 3 things I probably take away the most.
So good. Lydia, thank you so much for showing Sacramento so much love, so much empathy, so much leadership, so much courage. I am grateful that our paths have crossed and that I get to hang out with you and I get to get some of that invisible mentorship for you along the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you all for listening to the In Our Tribe podcast. Not just listening, but watching now. We'll see you again shortly. Stay strong, stay safe, and stay in the strength zone. Peace. Want to thank our sponsor, The Ring Studios, for helping us go live. Check out The Ring Studios when you get a chance. They're doing amazing things out here in Del Paso Heights.